Hello everybody, welcome back to the Traxion YouTube channel. Now, Season 4 on iRacing is upon us, which means there's a new track guide series here on Traxion. Last season we did the Fanatec GT3 challenge, but this season we're going to be doing something different because there's a brand new car. The new Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo is here, so we're going to be doing the Fixed Ferrari challenge. Now, the Fixed Ferrari Challenge can be raced with anybody with a D-Class license, and it's probably one of the most popular series on iRacing and a real stepping stone for those that want to race GT cars in endurance events or series where you need a B-Class license. So if you've followed my track guides before, you will know that they are not a place just for hot laps. It's a slow, methodical approach to learn each circuit where we talk about my braking markers, my reference points, and talk about the little quirks that each circuit has. We're also going to talk about pit entry and pit exit for those that want to use the guide for the VRS Sprint Series. But new for this season, we're going to talk about overtakes, and I'm going to give you my top tip where I think you can best get an overtake done at each particular circuit. So as usual, I'll show you the flying lap in full, then we'll jump in the car, do a few laps, and show you those braking markers and reference points in action. So anyway, let's get on track. Here we are then on the main start-finish straight here at Summit Point. So as usual, we've set the sim time to match the official series. So the time in the simulator now is 13:40 and it's the 18th of September 2021. We've also used the iRacing medium downforce sprint setup, which is what's used in the official series. Track temperature is 44 degrees. That's exactly the same as it was on the flying lap. And brake bias, we've gone for 52.5. Now, I've done quite a bit of testing here. 52.5, I think, is the happy medium. Out of the box, it's around about 54.1 or something like that, which is a lot higher than it was in the old 488 GT3. So in the Evo, the brake bias seems to be a little bit higher than it was, and 52.5 is higher than I would normally run around here. But that's a brake bias that seems to work pretty well. So we've covered Summit Point before, so things are a little bit different now because we're in a new car. It's the Ferrari 488 Evo, and we're on the new tyre model. Now, you will find that your best lap times come on laps 2, lap 3, and then they will start to drop off. The flying lap that you saw when I did a 107.77, I think that was on lap 6 of a run, so that's a true representation of a lap around here with these temps. It's not the first 1 or 2 laps. So, down to turn number 1, you want to be on the left-hand side. And I brake just before the 3 cones. So, I'm braking round about here, just before the 3. Nice, steady braking in a straight line. Try and resist the temptation to turn in a bit early. We all do it, but try and stay wide. And you want to be where this access road is here on the left-hand side. You don't want to be turning in before that point. The later the better, because you want to get a good run out of here. You want to apex this one quite late. Try and stay off the curb. It will unsettle the car. Now, I found with the new tyre model that a short shift a second can work well here when your tyres are starting to get a little bit worn. So the first 2 or 3 laps you can hold first and power out of here in first gear, but after that point your tyres start to drop off, and just before you start to accelerate, just as you're still turning in, as you're still trail braking, a little short shift to second and accelerate out in second gear. Car will run all the way out wide, but if you're in second, you can pretty much floor it at this point. It might oversteer a little bit, but it's quite controllable in second gear. Then for turn number 3, we're going to be moving the car right over to the right hand side. Now this is probably everybody's most feared corner here at Summit Point. It's so easy to touch the grass on the right hand side. You try and open up this left hand turn as much as you possibly can, but by doing so you run the risk of putting a couple of wheels on the right hand side. So you want to get over there as much as you can, but give yourself a little bit of breathing room. Don't try and push it as much as you think you can, because the chances are you'll just push it a little bit too much. So try and get over there as much as you can. We're braking just where this access road here is that you can see in the camera in the top right. Braking here, getting it nice and stable. Down to third gear. And then we're just kissing this apex and let the car drift right out wide. You can use a bit of this sand on the exit. It doesn't really matter. Then up to fourth, move the car over to the left. Now here we're accelerating as hard as we can in fourth gear. We're not lifting, not lifting, not lifting. And just before we hit the apex, we're lifting now. And then as soon as the car's straight, get on the brakes. Now you want to be about at this point really. You don't really want to be any wider. Round about here is fine to open up this left turn, and then it's all the way down into first gear. So we're trail braking all the way to the apex. Nice and tight, because as you can see here, it is cambered a little bit on the inside, and there's this new piece of road surface that's been laid that offers a little bit more grip to the outside, obviously, because that's where all the rubber is. So nice and patient out of here, and as soon as you get out of here, you can get on the gas, flat out. Now, you can upshift to second gear here, but I tend to leave it in first, and yes, towards the next right-hander, you might bounce off the limiter. I just think that that's a little bit more stable than shifting up to second and then back down to first. So I leave it in first gear at this point. And again, try and go where the rubbered line is. So you don't need to be right over to the left, but you want to be round about at this point when you enter this turn. Again, try not to touch this curb, but it doesn't really matter because it is quite smooth. And here, all you're doing is playing with the accelerator all the way around. You don't want to be on the gas because you will lose traction. I mentioned it in my other track guide that you can see that tower, the grain tower straight ahead. I presume it's a grain tower. When you see that, then you know you need to start getting the car over to the right-hand side for the next right. And again, we're just playing with the throttle. Still in second gear at this point. And then here now, we can accelerate, then a short shift to third. Again, we're never on full gas here. So it's just playing with the throttle. Same here. We want to try and keep the front of the car loaded. When you get to this point, now you can be on the throttle really hard. The car will run all the way out wide, use all of that curb. And then the run down to the tricky final turn, turn number 10. Now, braking markers here, it's not ideal. There's nothing on the left-hand side. There's no meter boards. But what you can use is the pit road on the right-hand side. When you get in line with the pit road, and there's also this small piece of discoloured grass on the left-hand side, you can use that as well. So we're going to be braking. So we're fifth gear, then down into fourth, then down into third. A little bit of trail braking, get the car at the apex, and as soon as you get it pointing at the apex, slam that accelerator pedal. As soon as you're at that point, the car will run all the way out wide. You can use all of this on the exit, and then back on the track for a run down to turn number 1. So remember, we're trying to brake in a straight line here, just before the 3 cones. Leave it in 5th gear, you don't need to go to 6th. So just before the 3, we're braking in a straight line, down to 1st gear. Trail braking here, when you're on fresh tyres, you can leave it in 1st, it's not too bad. But when the tyres are worn, short shift to 2nd. Again, braking just at this access road on the right hand side. Get the car nice and settled, and accelerate on the apex. Use a little bit of this on the exit, doesn't matter. Leave it in 4th gear, move the car right off to the left, just before you turn in, lift. And then on the brakes when the car's straight. Use this nice banked section on the inside, leave it in 1st gear. Again, we're just playing with the throttle here, up to 2nd. Nice and balanced. And short shift to 3rd. Move the car over. And then again, we're just playing with the throttle. If you look at the telemetry, we're never really full on the throttle until we know we're never going to have to take it off again. So braking marker, use the pit road on the right hand side, down 2 gears. As soon as you're on the apex, slam the throttle. Right, we'll try and pick up the pace a tiny bit. So again, I'll show you this short shift a second. So just before the 3 cones, we're going to be braking in a straight line all the way down to first gear, and then short shift a second, then accelerate out, and then you can pretty much floor it there. So on the access road on the right hand side, we're going to be braking there, get the car nice and settled, accelerate at the apex, let the car run out wide, up to 4th, move the car right over to the left, flat out here, be brave, be brave, be brave, then lift. When the car's straight, we're braking, using this nice banked area on the inside, leave it in first gear, open up this right as much as you possibly can, be patient round here, be really, really patient, just playing with the throttle, look at the inputs, I'm never going full gas until I'm happy that I don't have to take it off again. And then braking when the pit road's on your right hand side, down 2 gears, then smash it when you're on the apex there. That was a nice steady lap around Summit Point. 108.2. Race pace in the top split's probably going to be mid 107s, mid to high 107s. I did a 107.7 in the flying lap there, so we were taking that a little bit easy. You can push it. Just be mindful of those things that I mentioned where you get the wheels on the right hand side going up to that left turn number 3. Give yourself a little bit of wiggle room there. And be brave going down the hill towards the kink, turn number 4. Right, let's talk about pit entry, pit exit, and then after that we'll talk about when I think you might be able to get an overtake done at Summit Point. So pit entry at Summit Point is actually quite tricky because you're entering it at a fair old rate of knots, and the final stages of pit road, you're braking, you're turning, and the yellow cones there where you need to get your pit limiter on. So I tend to brake just as you enter the pit lane. Now the first phase of pit entry here is very simple because you're braking in a straight line. You're braking in a straight line all the way down here, then you're bleeding off the brakes, gently going down the gears. You can put the pit entry on before you get there, but here's where the yellow cone is, so it's just the final phase when you're entering the pits. That's the tricky part. So let's show you that on a flying lap. Alright, so we'll simulate pit entrance now, so you've just got to be nice and smooth. Accelerate down, brake just at the start of the pit road there. Nice and smooth, pit limiter on. Just got to take it nice and easy, because if you don't, if you overcook it, if you brake too late, then you're going to find yourself in all kinds of trouble when you get to that yellow cone. So pit exit at Summit Point, really straightforward. There's the green cone. As long as you stay on the right hand side, you're fine. Stay on the right hand side of the line, no problems. You just got to bear in mind that people are going to be coming down here maybe 2-3 wide, so you need to keep an eye on your relative. Make sure that you stay over to the right and you want to move over to the left when it's safe to do so, but dead straightforward at Summit Point. So we're going to go through now where I think you can get an overtake done here at Summit Point. Now, Summit Point is notoriously difficult to overtake. There's the obvious overtaking place into turn number 1 down the inside, but the chances are somebody's going to defend. So, yes, you'll get your regular overtakes where somebody makes a mistake and you can slip through without any issues. Now, I'm talking about overtakes where you've got to work for it, where you're battling with somebody, you can't get through, they're defending quite well. Well, you need to start setting them up much earlier than you think. So as you can see by the track map, we've just gone around turn number 7. Now I'm going to talk about an overtake at turn number 3. So you can see how far away that is, and that's when we need to start setting things up from this point. Now, going around here, going around the S's here, we need to be really close to the guy in front because we need to start putting him or her under some pressure. So we need to be really close, right on the bumper at this point, making them worry about what's behind rather than worrying about what's in front. Now, we will get a little bit of slipstream going down here towards turn number 10. We're not going to make the move into turn number 10. All we want to be doing here is thinking about the exit down the front straight. Now, what you can do here, if you're close to him or her, get your car over here. Make him think that you're going to go for an overtake. That will make him brake a little bit later going into the final turn. But we're not thinking about that overtake. We're thinking about the exit. So if he brakes a little bit later, his exit is going to be compromised. That will then give us an opportunity for a run and a possible overtake down into turn number 1. So think about your exit. Don't try and make an overtake here. Try and think about getting on the power, getting a really good exit. His exit's compromised. We'll get a good run down. We'll get a bit of slipstream. He's going to move over now to the right-hand side to defend. That's fine. We're going to follow him. We're going to follow him all the way down. He's going to stay on the inside thinking, I don't want to give up this line. I can't move, I can't move, I can't move. Now we're going to move right over here and we're going to brake a little bit later because we're going to be going deeper. We're going to be thinking about the exit to this turn. Again, he's going to be defending. His line's going to be compromised. His exit's compromised. So we can get a run up here now, either left or right. It doesn't matter. If we've taken a wider line round turn number 1, we're going to get a much better exit than him when he's been defending. And this is where the overtake's going to take place. Now, you've got to make sure that you give him room on the inside. If you go around here again, remember the grass on the right-hand side. You've got to be right over here and give him plenty of room because he'll probably defend there. And you can get the move done round the outside. If you don't get it done here, then there's obviously the run down to the tight turn number 5. That could be done as well. No problem down here. As long as you're too wide, especially if you've got this line, you've got the move done. But that's my top tip for an overtake. You set the corner up just after turn number 7. Put the pressure on all the way around. Think about the exits of turn number 10 and turn number 1 and 2. And get the move done into turn number 3. So there we go. That's week 1 done here at Summit Point. Please let me know down below how you get on in the comments. What were your times before the guide? What were your times after? Did I help? Did I cover everything in a track guide that you wanted to be covered? Just a couple of things I want to mention. Remember the grass on the right-hand side going into turn number 3. You're better off leaving yourself a foot or so between the car and the grass. You'll thank me later. Also remember, overtakes here at Summit Point, really difficult. You've got to set them up probably half a lap in advance. Keep your car moving. Make the guy in front look in his mirror instead of looking for his braking marker. As always, thanks for watching. Keep it pinned. See you later. Cheers.